Well, I'd like to use this drawing to illustrate the value of using the right mouse button when you're working with gCADPlus. Let's imagine that I wanted to put a closed polyline in to delineate this area of grass here, and I've got a polyline running through there, and I want to extend that polyline. So I'll start the polyline command, draw and polyline, or I could use the PL shortcut, and our start point will be the end of the existing polyline. One way of getting at the osnaps is to right click and say I'm going to start my polyline at the end of the existing one. Now I can come down here and try and trace over what's a relatively awkward shape, but if I wanted to get it closely, I could right click, go into snap overrides, and I could jump into my osnap settings and set nearest and object snap on, and away I go. But now I've reached a point where I want to go into arc mode, so let me pan across a little. I'm drawing in red so that hopefully you can see it. So I'll right click and go into arc mode. Now I want an intersection, so I'll right click, snap override to intersect, and we're there. Now as I zoom out, I now want to go back into line mode, and I've set nearest on, which isn't suitable now for the traverse that I want to do. So I go back in here to osnap settings, and I'll take nearest off. So now I want, and in fact I can see I need a number of endpoints, so I'll go back into there and just put endpoint on, and I can now find the endpoints that I need. So I hope you can see that using the right click while you're in the middle of placing entities can be really, really useful. I'll right click and enter there. The right click menu can be very useful when you are editing polylines. So I've selected the polyline we've just drawn, and let's zoom in a little. First, I'll just remind you by going into our drafting settings, object snap is, as we just left it, endpoint. It's running all the time. So if I now want to, say, insert a vertex in that polyline, I can right click and insert a vertex. I can also, let's insert another one. I need to let my mouse hover and find the grip. I can insert another vertex. If I don't like that one, hover over it again and delete a vertex. So I'm using the right mouse button all the time while I'm editing. Now let's imagine that I wanted to move that vertex, so I click it and then I can drag it into some sort of new position, and I click, and that's not working, is it? And I click again, and still I'm not getting the result that I want. I'm trying to induce a potential problem. Now remember, osnap is on all the time. I've got a couple of vertices there, I think, directly on top of one another. And whoops, something's happened. And if I zoom back out here, can you see that vertex that I was just trying to move has jumped to the end of the existing entity that's underneath it? And that can be a trap. So running object snaps on is fine and speeds drafting up many times, but there are times when you might find yourself zooming kilometers away from where you are actually drawing, or this is a US drawing, so I could find that gCADPlus is searching all the time for handles or grips, control points on entities, and it's looking all the time. And if you're using osnap that's on all the time, then you might find a result occurs like this, and that will frustrate you. But there's a perfectly good reason for it. There was an underlying, let me escape from there, there was an underlying entity there, sitting under there, and gCADPlus was hunting and found an endpoint while I was trying to just move a control point around. So it's just a matter of being aware of your settings while you are working with gCADPlus.